Hey everybody, I hope you all are doing well. And I hope this sound quality comes out good. I'm driving, so we'll see if this is okay for me to post. I wanted to come to y'all real quick about something that's been on me for a while, and I first have to apologize to God really because He dropped this on me. I believe it's on time. I believe it's still an on time word, and I just wanted to talk to some of the brothers out here. So if y'all could, like this, share this with as many people as you think need to hear it, I would appreciate it. Not for fame, but just for the word to get out. Some of us are already doing this, and to not be with the suspense or anything like that, I'm not trying to get you all. I don't even want to lose you. But what I want to talk about here is just talking to our young ladies, fathers, talking to your young ladies, your daughters, most specifically your daughters, no matter how old they are, but we're talking about our young girls. Tell them that you love them, okay? And not just tell them that you love them. We have to let our daughters know that we love them. The enemy has an attack out that he is doing where he is trying to get into the minds of our kids through various avenues, on television, on whatever they hear out in the streets. Not so much in the streets during the crisis, whatever, but it's definitely evident that we have to make sure that we do go out of our way to let our daughters know that we love them, not just tell them. And this doesn't just apply to our daughters, but it applies to the women in our life. It applies to our sons, but men. I'll say this, speaking for myself personally, the people in your circle, whether you're married or not, whether whatever the situation is, a lot of men will be in a situation where Valentine's Day comes around and you say you love someone, and outside of that, it's usually the woman telling us that they love us, and we saying that we love them back. Some of us will feel like that is, I love you becomes more like a question instead of a statement. And it's, well, if you're saying I love you back, are you just saying it because I said it to you? A lot of women will wonder why you don't say it first and things like that. And for most men that I know, action speaks louder than words. So we feel like you should know that we love you because of where you are with us, in a relationship. But on the women's side of things, it's always good to hear it. Now, this is a step further past that, because we're talking about spiritual warfare in this area, because what the enemy is doing is he is implanting. And you got to hear me clear on this. He is implanting into the minds of our young women that are still developing emotionally and in other areas, implanting that we don't love them. And it's not necessarily out of anything that we have done. It's just the fact of this is a tactic. And see, what happens is when women are young girls who are looking for love from their and I'm gonna bring this home for you guys, for young women who are looking for love from their father, it even if you're not in their life, they really want to know if you love them. But I'm talking about as young as 3, 4, 5 years old. And I say this I don't say this just to put this out there, because this is not just because, but I said, if anything that I talk to anybody about, it has to start in my own home, right? So my daughters are 4 and 5 years old. And when this dropped on my heart, the first thing I did was I got in front of my girls and see, your daughters, and we're going to just focus specifically on daughters right now. You know your daughters, you know their mannerisms, you know what's meaningful to them, okay? And for some of them, it's just, you could just tell them that you love them and they understand that this is genuine from my dad, and they'll feel something. Others, and I'm not talking about going out and buying roses, I'm not talking about going out and getting gifts and everything, because a lot of times people use gifts as a way of saying I'm sorry more so than saying I love you. So it's more about being thoughtful enough to do something. It does not have to be expensive or extravagant, to let your daughters know that you love them. My daughters are 4 and 5, and I sat here, and upon this dropping in my spirit, I went home and I told my daughters, I sat them down and I said, I want you to know something. And they said, what? And I said, Daddy loves you. Daddy loves you very much. And my daughters, both of them, the response was spot on with what had already dropped into my spirit. I love you too, Daddy. But it was more than that, because they needed to hear it. And for whatever the enemy tries to implant, he can't do anything more than what God gives him permission to. But the Lord will drop things in your spirit to let you know what's happening in the heavenlies, and you react to that with spiritual warfare, with prayer, and something simple. So something as simple as letting our daughters know that we love them, doing something that's tangible for them. They can, they can touch, they can actually, it might be a hug. When's the last time you hugged your daughter and said, I love you? When was the last time you just spent a little extra time and said, I love you, or went for a walk with them, or, did anything? And, for some, it might be treating them to lunch. Say, hey, I just wanted to take you out to lunch just to let you know that I love you. Because see what the enemy is doing, and this is really off the cuff right now. This is not, I did not plan this. So I left work today and said, I need to get this out. I can't wait any longer. But without them knowing that we love them, that from our own father, then that from their own father, then that in turn creates an insecurity, and it also opens up the door for them to find that missing piece from somewhere out here in the world. And the enemy has a whole lot of places where he tries to puts things that we try to associate with love in the world to grip up our young ladies. And the enemy is not playing fair. He's going for them young. And it's to the point now that once my daughters know, and see, we know when it's all talk. You have to know what it is that you're doing or saying to let that your daughters know that it's not just talk, okay? And this is just really important. So I'm not trying to be deep, but I'll tell you one thing you will notice when you do this. When you do this, you will notice the response from your daughters. Now, depending on the situation, some of them may have been waiting to hear this from you. And for the fathers that are already doing this and practicing this, and maybe even saying, this is right on time, for the women that may be hearing this and say, this is spot on. When you do this, some of you, your daughters are going to instantly break down in tears. Okay? Because you have just canceled out something that the enemy is trying to do. Now, we know our God is love. God is love. Everything about him transfers back to love. When you talk about all of the commandments, you can sum them up in two things: to love the Lord your God with all your heart, love your neighbor as yourself. And when you put this in place with your children, this is something that is going to cancel out so many attacks of the enemy. Now, this has been ongoing. I've seen this progress and blossom with my girls, and that's why I know that if I hear from the Lord, and I do it in my own home first, and then I turn share this with you all, please. You'll notice this for you, because it's going to tug on your spirit. You say, wait a minute, and you don't know